Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome to a brand new episode. I hope you're good. I hope your week has been fine and dandy. Thanks so much for all the lovely feedback on turning 40. It seems to have resonated a lot with people. I really felt the desire to talk about it, because it's definitely a thinker age. It's definitely a point of reflection and really going inwards, which is definitely the work that I know I shy away from sometimes, and then it pops up to the surface and I have to look at it. So thank you for that, and thank you for holding that space for me to share, and I hope you've gained something from it. So today I've kind of got 3 things that I want to share that I've been talking about on my Instagram. And if you don't follow me, you can go and check those out. Hello at Nikki Raby. No, that's my email. Just Nikki Raby, NICKYRABY. You'll find me there. And the first question I wanted to delve into is, who told you that you couldn't, shouldn't, or wouldn't? And I guess this has been part of my reflection time as I'm turning 40, of really looking at the decisions that I've made in my life, and also noticing perhaps the patterns or the twists and the turns or the forks in the road, or why I did certain things or how I ended up on different paths. I'm really going into that reflective headspace. But I refer to those people, those ones who are very vocal about what you shouldn't, couldn't, or wouldn't do, as the backseat drivers of your life. And I've really realized that those people sometimes can be very significant in your life, and they could maybe be a parent or a sibling or a teacher or a friend or somebody in your inner circle. But also, that kind of commentary might have come from a passing stranger in the street, or at a bus stop, or at a wedding that somebody told you something and you'd only just met this person. And it's been interesting looking at my life and my business to a certain point, and then thinking, was that person qualified to have such an opinion? Because as I delved deeper into it, I was thinking, wow, that opinion really stayed with me. I wonder why that was. Was it because somebody said it so forcefully? Or maybe I put too much emphasis on their opinion, or maybe I admired them from afar. So I suddenly thought, well, they must know. They must know better than me. Like, how, who am I at this stage to know what the right answer is? And I've really sat with these things and thought about how it affected me. Now, I would like to say there are some things that people went, she's not going to do that, or she shouldn't do that, or I wouldn't do that. They've really fueled me. They've given me that momentum of, I'll bloody show you. I'll do it, absolutely. But I also noticed that if they were said to me at a time when I was maybe feeling vulnerable or full of self-doubt, or those sort of dips that you have in life where you're questioning everything, I noticed those points when people were very vocal about what I could or shouldn't do, that I really took them to heart. And I almost didn't have it in me. I didn't have the fight in me to question them. And so going back and then looking from a fresh perspective has been really interesting. Another layer to this has been, is it time to release it? And usually the answer is yes. Yes, 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 yes. A resounding yes. It is time to release it. Because quite often I've noticed those people are not in my life anymore. And some of that is deliberate, and some of it, it's not. The person, I don't know, that you might know as a child from church, or the lollipop lady, or the person in the local shop, or any of those sorts of people. Some people might have died and passed on. But then there's been some people who haven't come with me as I've continued through life. And sometimes that's circumstantial, people move away. But then there's some times where I've made conscious decisions where I've had to set boundaries, and I've had to close down relationships or friendships and be unavailable for them. Yep, we're going there today. We absolutely are. There's definitely been times in my life where I have had to deliberately and consciously close things or bring things to an end. And that hasn't certainly been like a big row of, you did this, and at the end of the day. But sometimes it's just that recognition of, I only have limited time in this world, and I really want to spend it with people that I enjoy spending time with, and not people who are going to make you feel rubbish. My mum has this great phrase actually in terms of radiators or drains. And she always wants to hang out with radiators, people who are going to give her warmth, she's going to give warmth to, and it's going to be a lovely experience, rather than those drains. And I've certainly found that there have been some friendships maybe over the years, and they just don't make you feel good. Interesting. But I guess that's what happens when you get to 40. You know, not everybody is going to be in your pocket. You're not going to have as many pals as you did at primary school. And that's okay as well. Even though, it's quite a lot of work sometimes to look at what that looks like. Anyway, going back to, is it time to release it? I then looked at, what would that look like? What would that look like to release that habit? To release that limiting belief, to release that, maybe, I guess, that rule or that belief that has been stuck onto you. How would it feel? Well, sometimes for me, I see it very visually. It would feel lighter. It would feel more open. It would feel brighter. I think I see things a lot in colour as well. And sometimes that sludge or something that's holding me back, I often see it as like a texture or a colour. And it's that grey sludge where I'm like, it feels good to get that out of my body. I've talked about this on another podcast, that when I go running, I have several routes that I do, but one particular one that I do, it has a very long road at quite, not a massive gradient, but it's definitely a hill. And it's a real test of stamina, because it's not one of those where you can just bez up this hill for 10 minutes, but it's probably like a 3-minute run up this hill. And everything about this process makes you want to go, no, don't like it, don't want to do it, can't do it, no way. And what I start to do, and this may be a bit too far for some of you where you're like, what is she talking about? But try it yourself, kids. Like, this is what I'm going to say. But as I run, I imagine, it sounds mad as I'm saying it, but as I run, I imagine like some kind of cloak, or it's a cloak basically, unraveling from the nape of my neck going down. And as I'm running, as I'm building that momentum, it's like the colour is coming out, like Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, like the colour is being revealed, the reds, and sometimes I give myself a colour to focus on. So I think about all different kinds of reds that you see in nature, or I think about clothes that I have or whatever. And then I might do yellows or blues, and basically it distracts my mind. And then I also know that if I get to the top, by doing that, by moving through all of that colour, I am also extracting some of the sludge that is stuck in my body, some of the limiting beliefs, some of the stuff that is not serving me. You know, when you wake up in the morning sometimes and you're like, wow, my shoulder just feels like it's a bit stuck and I need to shift that energy. That's what it's like when I get to the top of that hill. I get to that point where I'm like, yes, you did it. And you didn't want to, and you found it tricky, and it's therefore you're releasing some of that sludge because you bet on yourself. Again, this may seem a bit crazy, but that's sort of my process as I go through it. So when I think about what that would look like, usually it's about creating space. But then when I create space, sometimes it brings up more fear of, oh gosh, now I've created that space. Now I've actually got to do the thing and stop talking about it. Because we all like to talk about our big dreams. You know, there's never a more motivated group. And I've done so many of these workshops over London where people create their vision boards and they talk about their goals and they talk about the things that they want to do. And I see that shift in their body language, that yes, oh my goodness, that could be a possibility. I would absolutely love to do that. This is me, like, yes. But what happens afterwards? What happens afterwards? Probably there's a bit of a fear. Probably there's a bit of a goal setting hangover of like, I mean, that all sounds really great, but how would I even do it? And that can bring up some stuff of, so what do I need to do? And so as I'm working through this, and you'll find the questions on my Instagram under the couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't post, and you can go back and revisit them. So when I've looked at, is it time to release it? What would that look like? And how can I start today? So for example, if I'm creating more space or if I let something go, I'm opening up capacity for something new. And sometimes that capacity can be really overwhelming. So I start small. How can I start today? How can I start to plant those seeds and keep moving forward? There are two other bits that I want to talk about today where I want to give you this permission and I guess keep ushering you and encouraging you to move into a place of feeling in alignment. And I want to ask you, what annoys you about your industry? Or this exercise, I guess, could work for what annoys you about being a parent or the parenting industry. I saw something on Instagram the other day where somebody was like, the thing that annoys me about parenting is the other parents who are so judgmental, or, you know, there are so many different things. But I'm using the point of the industry as an example. Now, due to my portfolio career, I would say I play in different industries, but for the example of this, I'm going to use coaching, which makes me think, how long have you got? So a couple of things that came up for me. Number one, I really dislike false promises. I hate all that, just do these 3 things and all your dreams will come true. And I'm always left with, but we're human beings, not machines. And there isn't a quick fix. There's so many other moving parts in this. The second thing that really annoys me is weird automations. You know when people pretend that they're live? Like, hello, I'm coming into you at this time, or the webinar is about to start in 10 minutes. And you're like, it's not starting in 10 minutes. It's just somebody in the back end of your computer is pressing play. You're not live. So yeah, that's a real bugbear of mine if you hadn't already guessed. Number 3, aggressive language. It pokes at my empathetic soul. I am such an empath. And I hate all of that phrasing of being on fire or smashing it or killing it. I don't want to do any of those things. It just feels awful. And it really gets my back up. See, there's an exuberant motorcyclist in the background. It does that. Like, no. So this post is not a moan, but it's an opportunity for you to explore how you can bring your own flavor to your industry. Because the temptation is to follow what others are doing, especially if they're like, hi, I'm an expert and I've done all these shiny things and I can teach you to do that as well. We can sometimes put all of the emphasis on somebody else. But if you are like me, you need to be doing what feels good. So I've definitely had this in terms of my acting career as well. That I've worked with some directors over the years who love directing, but they also like acting your part. And they might try and tell you how to say the line, like, no, say it in this way. And for you playing that character, you need to feel in alignment with it. You need to feel like, this is how my character would say it. This fits in with all the other choices. So this is what I'm saying in terms of your career and the way that you align and you move forward is keep practicing, but also keep checking in. And you can borrow stuff from other people, but keep thinking about what feels good to you, because you have the opportunity to contribute in your own way, to shake things up, to rewrite the rules, to start with a fresh piece of paper and ask, in an ideal situation, how would I do things? What would suit my life, my circumstances, my personality, and my goals? And what would my ideal clients love? And how could you delight them and also delight yourself at the same time? The third piece to this podcast episode is all about asking what your favorite parts of your business are. And I know it would be just easy to say, well, just do more of those then. But we know that it's all a process. And I know when I was starting out in terms of my coaching practice, I didn't have loads of cash just under the bed. And so I had to do everything because otherwise it wouldn't get done. And I know people would say, yes, but you're more expensive than whatever, so just outsource it. I didn't have the capacity or the inspiration or the knowledge of how to do that at that stage. But understanding how you spend your time and why is the first step. So I've done this process so many times before because for many years, and this is me speaking really honestly, I didn't have that Friday feeling. Mainly because I'd spent another week doing very little of what I actually loved doing, and yet I was so busy and exhausted. So these days, I'm really protective of my time and therefore really conscious about how I spend it. And that's not to say that, I spend every moment of every day galloping through my life going, wow, nothing can touch me. I am just having the best time ever. Because no, I have adult responsibilities. And also, a responsible adult isn't coming to sort out my schedule. It's my responsibility. So as always, I ask myself, what would the ideal situation be? And then I check in with where I am. And then consider and take the steps that take me closer. I hope you found this useful today. I would love to know how you are getting on with it and how you can really start to move into alignment. If you want to do more of this work, the best place I would say, because as you will see, my website is full of lots of delicious offerings, I would say you could do this one-on-one work with me. So you can go to nikkiraby.com/coaching with Nikki. Or you can go to the plan section of my website, all about planning and goal setting, reflection, and there are different offerings that you can do right there. And you can also add a one-on-one session on to that, or you can just work through the process yourself. It's entirely up to you. Some people need that one-on-one, actually showing up, putting on something nice, and I am doing one-on-one sessions in person now. So if that is you, I would love to see you, of course. But equally, this work might be private work for you, where you need to work through something very slowly. Maybe you need to combine it with other stuff, with exercise or meditation or journaling or whatever it might be. So go over to the plan section on my website, and it's all under building a personal brand. Let me just check, actually. Let me just check that I'm giving you this. I mean, goodness me, you can hear me typing this live version. Here we go. You can go over to the practical, one sec. Yeah, basically building your personal brand, I can help you with. So you can go to the planning, building a strategy, goal setting section. Wow, sorry, that was tedious, all that live typing. But I hope you've bared with me and you're with me today and you're going to do something with what I've shared. I really want that for you. Do leave a 5-star review. I would absolutely love that. Have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing or whenever you're listening. I'm sending so much love to you and I'll speak to you very soon. Lots of love.